There's nothing more powerful than the odor of mendacity.
And good afternoon. Welcome back Inside the Law. I'm your host, Philip Holloway. We're starting this 4:30 scheduled p.m. Eastern Time live stream a little bit early because I'm going to bring in my friend and trial watcher co-streamer, Dear Woke Christian, who is already underway on his channel. And we're checking out the very end of court. So let's go ahead and bring Jason in on this stream as well. Good afternoon, Jason. If you will unmute your mic.
I'm muted. Sorry about that, friend.
That's friend.
All right. I'm going to end my stream. I'm going to give them a warning that I'm ending my stream, and it should bring them all over here simultaneously.
All right. And then you can add the court feed at your leisure, sir.
Let me get that screen ready right now.
Yep.
And this is it right here.
We're doing things a little bit differently today and kind of on the fly. So this is a little bit of an experiment. But of course, the jury is back, and we're going to check out the very end of today's testimony, and then we're going to break down what's happened.
Okay, everybody. I'm going to end the stream, and we're going to jump right into Phil's stream. Here it comes. Pray quietly.
Can you watch your lane? I mean, people were shooting at us. All right. And where were you all? Where were you standing when they were shooting at you?
Outside.
Okay. And you said they were shooting at us. Who else was out there with you?
All right. And we are back over here now.
I can't be specific. Who was out there?
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Thug was out there with you?
I don't recall.
Okay. And that the individuals started shooting from the bushes?
I thought that, I don't recall where they were shooting it, but I thought they were shooting it.
And also, did you tell Detective Gaither that you ended up having the
those just joining on Inside the Law would be being treated as a hostile witness, which means they can ask leading questions as if it were cross-examination.
Thank you for that.
And do you recall telling the investigators that at the Cascade skating ring, you confronted Kel about them shooting at you all from the bushes?
What happened in Nut got nothing to do with YSL. Wow. This some shit, screaming language. This got everything to do with threat. You know what I mean? I was trying to protect threat from the get-go. You know what I mean? Threat, and they had some more stuff going on. Like,
was threat at the gambling house when it got shot up by Kel?
Young, you said nothing I say can be used against me?
Oh, that's no. Right. Here it comes.
Me and Threat shot Rich Homie Coin Daddy Barbershop on Bankhead.
What?
I don't know what happened with Threat and Rich Homie Coin, but I'm a ride with my brother. And they was beefing. And yeah, we pulled up and did that.
Okay.
Oh.
And as a result of, why did you and Threat shoot up Rich Homie Quan Daddy's barbershop?
Because I'm a ride with Threat.
Okay. Did Threat tell you why he was shooting?
I don't ask no question. I just say let go.
Wow.
And when Rich Homie Quan's barbershop was shot up, was that in September of 2014? Do you remember?
I don't know when. I know we went up there and shot it up.
Okay. Was it before Nut was killed?
Yes.
So here it comes.
Do you remember what happened the day that you and Threat shot up Rich Homie Quan's daddy's barbershop?
What you mean?
Do you remember that day? What led up to you going to the barbershop and shooting it up?
I told him they go do it.
What led up to you saying let's go do it? Why?
Threat was mad. He was like, he fucking keep scaring my language. He was talking, playing like we somebody to play with, and I was ready. I had them choppers on deck.
Oh my gosh.
Why was Threat beefing with Rich Homie Quan to shoot up his daddy's shop?
Cause we didn't know where he was.
So did you go to the shop looking for Rich Homie Quan?
No, we went to send a message.
What time did you go and shoot up?
I ain't telling you that.
Because I don't know, because I'm lying.
Was it in the morning? Was it?
It was at night.
This is wild.
Only in
To
YSL.
your knowledge, did anyone send threat to go shoot up
I ain't telling you that.
Rich Homie Quan's daddy shop to send a message?
No, he said what he said, and I told him, let's go do it.
Okay. You said that you all went to go send a message. What message were you sending?
We ain't the ones to play with.
Did something happen between Rich Homie Quan and Threat prior to you all having to go send a message?
Yeah, but I don't know nothing about it.
So how do you know something happened if you don't know anything about it?
Because I can't say for facts if it's the truth.
I don't know. It sounds like he's one step away from
Now,
saying who killed
Did
Nut.
this shooting of Rich Homie Quan's daddy's barbershop start the beef between If Gang and YSL?
The beef was never between If Gang and YSL.
Okay.
The beef was between me, Threat, and Shell Kell.
How did Shell Kell get in?
Rich Homie Quan. Because Shell Kell was trying to rob Rich Homie Quan. The streets threw YSL into what me and Threat had going on.
Well, that takes me back to the shooting at Lakewood, right?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. You just said that the streets brought YSL into what you and Threat had going on, correct? That's what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes for the record?
Yes, not bad.
So going back to the shooting at the gambling house, when you learned that Shell Kell was the one who shot up Thug's vehicle, did you and Shell Kell squash your beef when the two of you met at the Cascade skating rink?
Nothing I say could be used in no courtroom.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Here it comes.
That the parameters of the immunity are
Ask about the feds.
Nothing can be used.
correct.
And what your question was?
Oh man,
When
this is
you
getting
and
good.
Shell Kell met
It's getting
at the
crazy.
Cascade skating rink, did the two of you shake hands and say that the beef was over when y'all met at the Cascade skating rink?
I put a gun out on him
At the Cascade
at
skating
the
rink?
Cascade skating ring.
Okay. Wow. Well, who'd you pull it out on?
Shell Kell.
And once you pulled the gun out on Shell Kell, what happened?
I had somebody with me that I didn't want to get caught up in my bullshit, my shenanigans.
Who
Not
was with you?
shenanigans.
I can't recall.
Well, if somebody you just
I
said,
can't remember who it was with me.
okay. So how do you know you didn't want them caught up in your shenanigans?
Because I wasn't going to put nobody else in my. I just wasn't going to do that.
Okay. So after you pulled the gun out on him, did you shake hands with him to say that the beef was over between the two of you?
Nope.
Okay.
I pulled the gun out and let him know I could have got you right now.
Okay. And you didn't shoot him?
No, I didn't.
All right. So did you tell the police Gaither and Dennis back in January 2015 that you and Shell Kell shook hands and said that the beef was over and y'all two were laughing about it?
Well, I'm talking to the police, so I'm not going to tell them what actually took place. If I knew that y'all was going to do what y'all doing today, I wouldn't never even did what I did.
Okay. And then after you told the police that you all shook hands, you told the police that Kell wanted you to FaceTime Thug.
Thug had nothing to do with what we had going on.
That's not what I'm asking you, Mr.
I'm
Cooper.
telling you the truth.
Did Kell shoot up or shoot Thug's car the night that the gambling house was shot up?
Everybody could got shot up, and I can't say if I never seen who actually did it. They say that it was Kel who did it.
Was Thug's car one of the cars that was shot up the night that the gambling house was shot up?
My car was shot up, and a few other cars. I didn't see Thug cars because once I came from behind the wall, everybody was scared of pulling off.
So is your response that you don't know if Thug's car was shot up?
I don't recall if his car was shot. I doubt it was shot up because I seen it a couple days later or whatever.
Did you tell the police that when back in this January interview with Gaither and Dennis, that when Kel asked you to FaceTime Thug, you FaceTime Thug and said, "Hey, Salam, the beef over with." So Thug was like, "Yeah, it's over with." And then Kel got on the phone and Thug started talking. And Thug said, "The beef ain't over with until you pay for my window. You shot my window."
But I told you I'd make anything up if I'm talking to investigators.
Okay. And they clarified and they asked you, is that what Kel said? And you said, no, that's what Thug told Kel.
It don't take a rocket science to come up with it. I don't recall what I told the investigators. I know I wasn't going to tell them that I put a gun on Sheriff Hill, and if I didn't have certain people with me, I was going to do something to them.
Okay. And that furthermore, you said, you told Detective Gaither and Dennis, yeah, he shot Thug's window. So Thug, like, I don't care about none of that, about what you all have going on. You still shot at me. Just pay for my window. If you don't pay for my window, hey man, I ain't letting nothing go. I looked at Kel and said, that's between y'all two. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither and Dennis that?
You know, I don't even talk like that.
All right.
You know how I talk.
And then afterwards, they hung up from FaceTime, and Kel's like, nah, man, call Nut. And so you and Kel started talking, and you told Kel, just pay for the window. This shit over. And Kel's like, pay for the window? This nigga just tried me. Did you tell the police that that's what Kel told you after he got off the phone with Thug?
When I pulled that gun out on Sheriff Hill, I said, I could have got you. He went his way, and I went mine.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither and Dennis that you actually did shoot at Kel's house back in June of 2015? In the interview in June of 2015, you actually told the police that you shot at Kel. Do you not recall that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
So I don't think I got a chance to get him.
You said that. You told the police you shot in the air, but Kel was around. Do you recall telling the police
Can you
that?
say it again?
Sure.
I shot in the air, but what?
What is with their microphones?
All right, well, then maybe something he told the police too. I don't know. She can ask about it and he can answer whatever his recollection is of what he said to the police. Go ahead. Okay, well, that is true. So make sure that you have a basis for your questions.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Oh, she says she has a good faith basis. I wonder if that's the case.
June of 2015.
June? Yes.
Okay. And during that interview, do you recall telling the
shooting
police
in the air
that
is
you
not shooting
actually
at.
did shoot at Kel, but you told them that you actually shot in the air, but Kel was around?
I love God too much to be shooting at him.
Okay.
What?
Do you recall telling the police that you
What does
shot
that
him?
mean?
No, I don't.
He
I don't
loves God
recall
too much to be
ever
shooting up in the air. You don't want to shoot at him.
Oh my gosh, I didn't get that.
Now I
Oh
want to
my
go back
gosh.
to the January 28, 2015 interview.
Oh my gosh.
Do you recall
Didn't know it
telling
worked
the
quite that way.
detectives that you told Kel, you got a problem with Thug, you don't have a problem with me. That's over with, and y'all shook hands?
Yeah, I don't recall what I done told the investigators.
That would have been funny if he had
Now,
said
in the
ammo is
same
expensive.
2015 interview with Gaither and Dennis, after you spoke with them, Gaither and Dennis, about what led up to the shooting on the highway,
Oh my God.
do you recall giving them more detailed information about the shooting on the highway?
What you mean?
Sure. Let me ask you this. Do you remember how long your interview was with Gaither and Dennis?
They
Not
put
as
you
long
so
as
many
this.
times.
Right.
Okay. Do you remember the interview being approximately 3 hours?
Probably so.
And in the course of that interview, do you recall talking to them about a number of different things?
Like, I don't recall.
Okay.
Phil, somebody said your microphone is kind of loud.
And speaking with Gaither and Dennis about the shooting on the highway, do you recall being at a pool party before the shooting occurred on the highway?
Gosh,
No.
pool party.
Isn't it true that you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that you all were at someone's home or at the pool party and you were getting ready to leave when you saw Booshi, Booshi, get on the phone prior to you leaving the party?
I don't recall what I told the investigators.
Okay. And you actually thought Booshi might be setting you up.
She know better.
Okay. But did you think, okay, did you tell the detective you thought that she might be setting you up?
I don't recall what I told the detectives.
And you thought that Booshi might be setting you up because her family was friends with Nutt's family.
I don't know who her family friends with. I don't even know who her family is.
Let it go. He'll back tomorrow.
Do you recall them saying in that same interview that once you all left the party, you all got on the highway and you got near, I believe it was Atlanta Medical Center back then. And that's the area in where the shooting occurred on the highway.
Atlanta
Can you say it again?
Sure. That after you left the pool party, you and I believe Shannon got into a car and you all left, and the route that you took was near Atlanta Medical Center.
Oh, I don't recall what I told the investigators. The truth of the matter was I was trying to protect my friend. Threat.
Okay. Were you trying to protect Threat when you all were getting shot at on the highway?
I don't recall what you're talking about.
Was Threat in the car with you when you were getting shot at on the highway?
I don't recall.
Do you remember telling the detectives that you reached out to Yet Gotti because he was dating Booshi at the time to tell him you thought that Booshi set him up?
I don't recall.
I believe Threat has passed away. Someone said Atlanta Medical is closed since this trial started.
Yep.
I don't know, Pedro Miguel. This is a great question. What is going on with this trial? I have no idea. Besides it being a burning dumpster fire, I have no
And
idea.
when you spoke to Yet, and you confronted him and said, your girl just set me up. He responded to you and said, who? Bushi? And then he told you he was going to call you back. He hung up. He called back and said, she doesn't know what you're talking about, that she didn't set you up.
I don't recall.
Woody's losing. He's losing steam. Woody's getting tired. Can the attorney just say, "Hey, can we pick this up tomorrow"?
Yeah.
They can. Okay.
Ask.
Now, earlier we talked about who you hang with, or back in 2015, who you were hanging with back in January of 2015. And did you tell detectives in this same January interview, Detective Gaither and Dennis, that outside of Shannon and Little D from Mechanicsville, you're not going to see them hanging with anybody else?
He said that.
I don't recall what I told the investigators.
Did you also tell them that there's not going to be one time that you don't see you and Little D together, no matter what?
I don't recall what I told the investigators. But the D is not he don't have my life. He not like me. The D is a pretty boy. He for the girls.
Okay, so when you say he's not like you, what do you
Is it
mean?
me? Oh my gosh.
I don't recall.
Okay, so why did you just say that?
I don't
I don't
remember.
recall.
So when you say he's like the girls, what do you mean?
He's a pretty boy.
Okay.
He's not a troublemaker.
Okay, so what does that mean? Why did you tell me that?
The D was only around for the girls.
Okay. So when he got beat up in the club, was that only for the girls?
Yeah. I don't know.
He said he
So
got
if
beat up
he's
for the
not
girls.
if he's only about the girls,
The D is not a fighter. He's not a shooter. He's just a pretty boy.
are you aware of Little D shooting at people's houses after he got beat up in the club in April of 2015?
No, the D don't know how to shoot no gun.
He ain't about that
Were you aware
life.
of him being convicted for that?
He ain't about that life.
Cause the D wanna be something that he ain't. So he probably took a charge. Ain't no telling.
This has got to be the
Now, are you
craziest
familiar
case.
with a person by the name of Trivia?
Who?
And Trivia?
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Do you know of Moontung having a girlfriend named Antrivia?
He just said,
Oh, the girl. Yeah, I know who. I don't know her. I know who you're talking about.
Okay. And Trivia, was she at one point in time also dating Shell Cal?
That's her.
I'm asking you.
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling
so
the
frustrated.
detectives about Trivia and about the issues you had with Trivia yourself?
I ain't had no issues with her.
Do you recall telling the detectives about Moontung and Shell Cal getting into an argument at Club Crucial?
We grown. We men. We ain't doing no arguing, especially not over no girl.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis?
I would tell them anything.
And that their argument wasn't over a girl?
I don't recall.
it just seems like she keeps finding dead ends. This is like a game of finding dead ends. Like the goal is to get as many dead ends as possible.
Well, she should certainly be more organized.
Right. That's like she's gonna turn a page. Like, where are you going? And it, oh my gosh.
Okay. Earlier, you talked about pulling a gun out on Shellcal. Do you recall telling me that a few moments ago?
Yes.
All right. In this same January, excuse me, I thought it was in June.
question,
In this
good
same
question.
January interview, do you recall telling Detective Gaither that you actually told Shellcal that you almost shot at him and that you could have killed him if you wanted to? You actually told Detective Gaither.
If I got a chance, I would have.
Okay. But did you tell Detective Gaither that you told Shellcal that you almost shot at him?
I don't recall.
And that you actually told him, I was this close to you, but I could have killed you if I wanted to?
It's craziness.
No, I don't recall.
And that's when you told him, I ain't shoot at you, but I shot in the air. If I would have shot you, I could have got you.
You said it again?
Sure. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither that you actually did tell Shellcal that you almost tried to shoot at him, but that you ended up shooting in the air?
I don't recall.
And that you told him, I would have shot you. I could have gotten to you, bro.
Okay.
Anytime he got shot at? No, I don't recall.
And even when you told Detective Gaither that you intended to shoot at Shellcal, were you arrested that day at all?
Because I'm not telling on myself.
But you told her what you told Shellcal, which was that you were shooting at him.
I told her lies because I knew she wouldn't be able to go back and she wouldn't go back and get nothing to prove that what I said was true.
Okay, but you just told this jury that you did try to shoot at Shellcal, so that wasn't a lie, correct?
No, I put a gun out on him. It's a difference.
Now, after January 28th, did you then go back to the police department in February 20th after you, your daughter, and your child's mother were shot at when you were coming out the house?
They took me down there.
Okay.
Yeah, he admitted that.
And when they took you down there, did you speak with the police?
I had no choice.
And did you tell them what happened to you?
I told them different stories.
What do you recall happening the day that you, your child, and your child's mother were shot at?
My child was crying. She wouldn't stop crying. We was taking her to the hospital. We came out the door. Somebody was out there waiting. And then what happened?
Okay. When you went to come out, child, where were you?
Carver home.
Okay. And where were you taking your baby?
To the hospital.
And today, do you recall which hospital you were taking her to?
I think Scott's right. This one that I used to always take her to.
Okay. And once you walked out the house, what do you remember happening?
I look around. I seen the cussing at the stop sign, just sitting there. I walked towards the car. I walked towards my car, and I grabbed my baby mama's hand and pulled her closer to me. And the car pulled out like it could come, like they were trying to figure out which way they wanted to go. Then they turned my way. I told her to get down. I pulled the gun out, put my baby behind my back because she was in a car seat. I pulled my gun out. I can't remember if I threw my child in the back seat with my baby mama or if I just held her behind my back. But the car rolled on side of me. I seen all the windows up, and I didn't just want to shoot anybody out for paranoia. So I waited. They rolled up, let their window down, and tried to shoot. And I shot all in their car.
And what happened after you shot at their car?
I ran around, grabbed my baby mama out the back seat, told her to duck behind me as we tried to go back into the apartment, and they got out the window and tried to shoot. They shot, and I shot back at them again, and then the car started making a lot of noise. They ran to a house. They jumped out, and I shot at them some more. Then the neighbors, somehow we couldn't get in, but she got in, and we ran. The neighbors was in their house.
And the neighbor, the house you ran into, were they initially outside as well when the shooting first started? Do you remember?
I think it was, but I can't. It was so fast. I wasn't caring about it. My only mind was on my kid and my baby mom.
And when that occurred, did you feel the need that you had to protect your child and your child's mother?
That's my job.
And that's why you shot back.
That's my job.
Okay. And
This is his job.
once everything occurred, did you wait for the police to come to tell them about what happened?
No, I was trying to dip, but when I came out, the police came so fast. Shit, they caught me.
And when they caught up with you, did you tell them everything you just told the jurors right now while you were still on the scene, still back at Carver Homes?
No, I lied and said that somebody named Tate was shooting back at them.
Okay.
And when he said he gonna call Gator, whatever her name is, I knew she was gonna be like, which Tate? So I just went ahead and told her I was shooting back.
Okay. So when you went down to the police department and you spoke with the detective, do you recall initially not wanting to tell them who shot at you or who you saw shooting at you?
So, I tell it over and over and over and over and over that I never saw no one face. I to this day I still never saw no one face. The detectives they pressured me. They kept asking me. I didn't know nobody. And then the next day they wanted the gun. They gave me 24 hours. I didn't get them the gun. They locked me up. And when they locked me up, they put me on isolation. They wouldn't let me out the room. I was going crazy. I was thinking about when nobody out there to protect my baby mama and my child. I was losing it. Shit, I was going crazy in that room. So I just went putting things in my head, and I was requesting to speak to the police so I could say anything to get out, so I could get out there and do what I know.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the interview now.
Oh my
On
gosh.
February 20th, 2015, and looking at those state's exhibits, can you find the one that's February 20, 2015?
It's right in front of me.
And is that the one that you and Deshaun were in the interview room together?
Yes.
All right. And do you recall there being times in the interview that the detectives left and you and Deshaun were in there by yourselves?
I can't really say how that interview went because the police don't question me so many times.
And in that interview, initially, did you even tell that first detective that it was Tay who shot you?
No, I don't know which. It was so many of them. I just know when I was still in Carver Home, I tried to go outside to get the key from the car because I had already left the car running, and Deshaun dropped her purse, which had the key in it. So I was trying to go get the key, and then that's when the police caught me. And the first police that came up, he didn't know me, and I didn't know him, so I just told him anything. But when he was like, they getting the gang unit here, I was like, shit. Because the gang unit know everybody I know. So I just told them I shot back.
And even when you told me you shot back, you did not get arrested for shooting back at Tay, or excuse me, shooting back at the cars that shot at you.
Car.
Right. So when I went ahead and admitted that I was shooting back, they searched me, and then he was like, "Okay, man, you're not under arrest, whatever." So he's like, "We just want to take you down for question." I'm like, "But if me and my baby mama got shot up, why you only taking me? If you're gonna lock me up, just gonna lock me up." And then one of the police because the police put like his handcuff, and he was like, "Nah, we don't need that." Told him put the handcuffs up, and he's like, "Man, come." So I like, "Do I got to go?" He like, "Yeah, because I got to get your statement." So I'm like, "Well, why she?" And he like, "She could come too."
Okay. And the both of you all went to the police department.
He took us down there.
All right. And she wasn't arrested and you weren't arrested when you went down there.
No, we wasn't.
All right. And during that interview, do you recall them trying to find out from you who was the person that shot at you?
That's what he kept asking. I don't recall, but I know that's what he kept asking.
And you were concerned about telling them because you were concerned about snitching.
No, at that point, I didn't give a fuck about. Oh, excuse me, sorry. I didn't care about nothing or nobody walking this earth.
During that interview, do you recall the detective? And let me actually just strike that. The person who interviewed you, was it Detective Thorpe?
I don't have a clue who it was.
Okay. Do you remember being Detective Gates or Detective Dennis?
I remember them saying that the gang unit gonna come question me. I don't remember. I don't even know if they questioned me about this. I can't remember.
Wow, this is painful.
Do you remember the detective asking, or didn't the detective ask you, do you recognize anybody in the car that tonight this evening shot at you? Do you recognize anybody? And Deshaun says, I couldn't see their face. He asked you, you recognize who it is. I'm just waiting on you to be real with me about it. And you said, it won't stop it. And he says to you, so you saying the loyalty, not knowing who was out here shooting at your baby mama and your baby ain't gonna stop it? Because you can't sit here and tell me today who you recognize as a person who was shooting at you. And then you continue to say, I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I didn't shoot one of them. I haven't done nothing to them. I honestly haven't. They've been shooting up. I haven't retaliated not one time. I'm going to tell you why I haven't, because I feel like police out to get me. Gaither called me. Guess what? They can call me. I put all my pride to the side. I put a lot of faith in her to handle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
And I put a lot of faith in her to handle this. And guess what? It's still going on. And he says to you,
Where's the question?
that he was concerned about snitching. Were you concerned about snitching?
No, I'm not. I wasn't concerned about snitching. It's more about getting whoever did that. So if I had to throw the police out by saying anything for the person who actually did do it, I don't want the police to know who did it because you shot me while I got my child. Fuck jail.
Okay.
oh my gosh.
Do you recall telling the
Poor Woody.
detective that one of your cousins was getting tortured now because people thought that he had snitched?
What I'm trying to do to people who shot at me and my child, I ain't trying to see them in jail.
Okay. But did you tell the detectives, again, you were concerned about being labeled a snitch?
I don't. If that was the case, then I wouldn't be a snitch.
Isn't it true that you told the detectives, your cousin, he's getting shot at? All this because they think he snitched. I'm already going through enough about something I didn't do. And I know if I was to tell you what was going on, as much as I know, they're going to be on the records and all this here. And you got to get him locked up. And he going to get his discovery package. First thing you're going to do is send the two places, to the street and to prison. And float it all around the city of Atlanta and then all around prison. But my name's over that. I'm not going out that way. No, I'm not going through none of that. Look, they shot at me, my girl, and my baby. Almost shot my face off as we were running. I'm not for sure, but I thought I heard one of the bullets hit the car seat and grazed the car seat. I don't know.
I've been to jail so many times that I know whatever I say to the police will be in black and white. They have me no concern about being labeled a snitch or being concerned about being labeled a snitch. The way I live and the way my mind set up is, I don't care how nobody label me. Like I told you, somebody shot me while I was my child.
And with that, the detective tried to encourage you to tell who you saw, and you would not. Is that true?
My right-handed guard, Detective Gaither, told me who shot at me. She asked me, did I see one of the people? And when she said that, I was like, I didn't see this boy, no nothing. First thing came to my mind, why you bring his name up? I didn't know no blood was in the car, I didn't know nothing. And when they told me that and she brought his name up, I knew who shot at me then.
Didn't you send to Detective Gaither, and the day after this interview, a picture of the person who shot at you in the car?
Tay never shot at me.
Okay, but
There was a throw off.
But you sent her that picture, correct?
I can't recall. If I did, I probably did. But my whole motive was to get who, in my heart, like I said last time, and to this day right here, I have seen Tay after the fact, and I didn't do nothing to him because I knew 100% fact that this boy didn't shoot at me or do nothing to me. The pressure that the Atlanta police put on me was just like to say anything at this point, because at the end of the day, I know this boy ain't shoot at me. Y'all went to lock them up and charge him. The DA office called me, and when I was in, they didn't call me, they called Deshaun. When I was in jail, and they was talking to her, and they was saying something about trial. I told them people on the phone while I was in jail back in whatever year that was, that he wasn't the person that shot us. I'm not protecting him. And to this day, he's out wherever he at. I'm not protecting him. I never saw him shoot at me.
Okay. In the same February 20th interview, do you recall there being a period of time when the detective left the room and it was only you and Deshaun in the room speaking?
I don't recall nothing that took place in an interrogation. But as we speak today, I'm telling you what I recall. When they shot at me with me, Deshaun, and my child, I remember every second of that night. I still see it every night I go to sleep. I still want, that's it.
And is it true that in the same February interview, when Detective Curry left the room, it was just you and Deshaun, you said to her, this shit not going to work. Sit right here and be a damn snitch, so I'm going to keep going. And she says to you, why are you saying, why you acting like you did? I didn't. They want me to say I did. Well, you should just said no. I thought you know all of them. And you said, I do know who it was. You were just saying you didn't know what to say. I did. When he jumped out the car, I know exactly who I saw. And she said, who? And he said, this shit got my blood pressure up. I think they be walking somewhere right here or something with the police right here. They had to be walking somewhere. They could have ran up to the car. And then you say, it's Tay and them. Do you recall telling Deshaun that when it was just the two of you in the room?
I don't recall saying that, but I have watched First 48, and any of my family members will tell you, I don't remember watch police all day. Any movie, I just watch and learn how they operate. When that police left out, I knew they were still recording us. Like I said, I like it.
So why wouldn't, so if you told the detectives, I don't know who shot me, why didn't you just continue to say that if you knew the cameras were running? Why didn't you just tell Deshaun that knowing that the cameras were running?
Because my whole motive is to convince the police that I'm going to tell them the truth.
But you already convinced them, according to you, by telling them you didn't know who shot you, correct?
But you got to understand the difference, like how you put pressure on me now. You keep applying pressure. Know what I mean? Like at this point, I'm liable to say anything. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know who shot at me until Detective Gaither said one of the boys' name. And when she said one of the boys' name, she said blood. And when they locked me up the next day, I was in what's name, and one of the boys came in like, he just came from Cub home, and they found he told me some stuff that happened that I was like, what? I put 2 and 2 together, and that's how I knew who shot at me.
Was Detective Gaither in the room when you were talking to Deshaun?
I don't know. Like yeah, I'm talking about the whole time frame. When that investigator questioned me, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't. I know Tay personally. Like, I'm not gonna tell you nothing about what me and Tay had going on, but y'all know, like I know Tay didn't have nothing to do with me getting shot at.
Matter of fact, you just said you knew Tay. Didn't you tell Detective Curry that Tay had just been at your house a few days before the shooting?
Exactly. I invited him there.
Exactly. And you told the detective that that's how you knew who he was, because he had been to your house.
You want to tell you why I invited Tay to my house? I'm not even gonna do him like that. No, I'm not telling y'all that.
Okay. I'm not asking you to tell me anything. I'm asking you, were you concerned about snitching, which is why you did not want to initially tell Detective Curry who shot at you?
Sustained.
This is painful.
After
Somebody said
in
3
the
hours ago
same
he didn't know.
February interview, once Detective Curry left the room and you had an opportunity to talk to Deshaun, do you remember Detective Curry coming back into the room and speaking with you some more?
I don't recall how the interrogation went.
Okay.
I don't recall.
Yeah, go back to I don't recall. Go back to I don't recall. He was really cooking when he was doing that. This is painful, man. Is this common that she bounces around like that?
Do you recall
Phil?
being concerned
Seems to
that there
be.
was a whole gang after you because they thought that you had killed Nut?
I wouldn't be in the streets if that was the case.
Didn't you tell the detective at this February 20th interview, I can't run from it. It's a whole gang after me. Different niggas every day. It could be different niggas every day. Every day.
I was telling the investigators anything where I could be a victim, because if I caught one of them down bad,
There you go.
I'd be justified.
When you say caught them down bad, what does that mean?
Caught him down bad.
Self-explanatory.
It's not. If
Google
you
it.
tell me, what does that mean?
I don't recall.
Okay, so why did you just say that?
I don't know.
This dude is. I bet you she don't go gambling house. There we go. How does she actually expect somebody to follow along with this?
And in February of 2015, when you had this
She ought to be
initial
mindful
interview
of her
after
jurors and their
you and your
attention span.
child mother was shot at, did you just want the police to do their job and find out who killed Nut so that people would stop coming after you?
Can you say that again?
Sure. In February of 2015, when you had this initial interview, did you just want the police to do their job so that people could stop coming after you? You wanted them to find out who killed Nut so people could stop coming after you.
You saying, did I say that?
Yes.
I guess I don't recall. I think so. I don't know.
Were you tired of people coming after you thinking that you killed Nut?
I was tired of getting shot at.
And were you getting shot at because people thought you killed Nut?
Sustained.
Did you believe that you were getting shot at because people thought you killed Nut?
Well, I was getting shot at before that.
I'm talking about in January 2015.
I never got shot at in January 2015. I think I got shot at in February or something like that.
When you were shot at and while you were in the car, was that in January 2015?
I don't recall.
Just say I don't know. Or I don't recall. That's another way.
The only time I remember getting shot at is when I had my daughter. That's the only time I think I got shot at, if I'm not mistaken. After Nut got killed.
And you said you don't recall the time on the highway.
Man,
I don't remember if it was before or after he got killed. I told you I've been shot at a lot.
Yep.
Now, you said that you finessed them because they wanted the gun that you used to shoot back at the individuals who shot at you.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to that gun?
How do I know?
What did you do with the gun after you shot at them?
What gun?
The gun that you used to shoot at the individuals who shot at you.
This is
I don't know nothing about no gun. I don't recall.
Okay. Did you just testify a few moments ago that while your baby was in your hand, you took
Right.
the gun and shot at these individuals who shot at you?
Oh, I told them I throw that gun in the woods.
Who did you tell that to?
The police they caught me there that night, and they went to search the woods and they said they couldn't find it.
All right. Did you tell
All right,
the
Hilton.
detective who you were interviewing with that the gun was back at home and that you were going to go get the gun and bring it to them?
Yes, I think I told them that.
Okay.
I told them if they let me go, I'd bring the gun back.
And that specifically you won't call Gaither and give Gaither the gun.
I don't know if I said that, but I probably did.
Okay. And did you ever give Gaither the gun?
No.
Why not?
Is you crazy?
He just threw it in the woods, he said.
They asked you for the gun. Why didn't you?
I mean,
give
where
it
else
to
are you going to put a gun?
I never was gonna get in the gun from the start.
Okay. Did you eventually explain in June of 2015 the reason why you never gave Gaither the gun?
What you mean?
When you were interviewed in June of 2015, did you tell Gaither why you never gave her the gun?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you tell Gaither in June of 2015 that you never gave her the gun because it was Shannon's gun?
What I'm gonna do with Shannon gun?
Did you?
I'll get back to Shannon.
I ain't no telling. I probably did.
Shannon still.
And that Shannon took the gun with him to while he was on tour with the.
No, I don't. I tell Gaither anything, just like I would tell the rest of the police. But as today, as in the truth of what happened was, I hid the gun in the neighbor house, in their bathroom up under the sink.
So why wouldn't you just tell Gaither that you hid the gun?
Cause they're gonna lock me up for the gun. I ain't supposed to have it.
Okay, but you had already told her in January 2015 that you had a whole chopper and you didn't get arrested for having a chopper. So why would you get arrested for having this gun when you were protecting yourself from being shot at?
Because they don't matter what I tell them. They know I had guns, but it's what they catch me with.
Right.
Okay. And didn't Gaither and the detective who interviewed you the night that you were shot at told you that you wouldn't get in trouble, they just need the gun?
Yeah, but I don't know, a fool go for it.
All right. So this is painful. She needs to just say, look, let's start again tomorrow.
Jurors don't like to see her sitting there flipping pages.
Now, when you were
I don't like
talking
seeing
to the detective back in this February 20th interview, do you recall him asking you questions about Tay and where Tay was from?
Which state?
The Tay that you initially said shot at your car.
Oh, I don't
I mean,
recall.
excuse me, shot at you and Deshaun.
I don't recall.
But he's been shot at several times because he got shot at while he was driving. He got shot at
And
while he was walking up the
Deshaun
house.
actually told the police that he's either from Mechanicsville or he's from Simpson Road.
Deshaun ain't tell them nothing.
Sean didn't tell you a thing, man.
And matter
Go.
of fact, Deshaun, when they asked him how old is Tay, Deshaun told them,
Overruled, because I think it's as to, what, let me hear the rest of the question.
sure, during this entire,
How's he supposed to know this?
because he's present in the room when she's telling him.
All right, I'm gonna overrule it.
In this same interview, Deshaun was able to tell the detective that this individual by the name of Tay was about 20 years old.
I don't recall Deshaun saying nothing to the police, other than she ducked down.
Wow.
And that matter of fact, you actually told the detectives that you used to hang out with this Tay before he shot at you.
I tell the detectives anything to get them up off me.
And specifically, you told him that you and him used to play basketball at Carver. At Carver High School, the two of you used to play basketball
rec
on the
center
basketball
coming up.
court at Carver.
I don't recall.
That rec center's coming up. Here it comes. It's a gamble house or the rec center?
Miss Hilton, we're gonna need to, I mean, it doesn't have to be right this minute, but pick a stopping point sometime in the next 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
20
Thank you,
minutes.
You said earlier that you weren't concerned about being labeled a snitch. Is that fair to say?
Say that again?
Earlier, a few moments ago, you said you weren't concerned about being labeled a snitch. Is that fair to say?
I wasn't.
You was not.
You were not.
What you mean?
That you didn't have any concerns being labeled a snitch. Is that correct?
I don't get what you asking.
Back in 2015, were you concerned about people labeling you a snitch?
I was concerned about the safety of my family, so that's my mindset back then.
I'm asking you, were you concerned about being labeled a snitch?
A snitch is someone who tell the truth to the police.
Okay, so were you concerned about being labeled a snitch?
He said no.
I was concerned about getting those who wrong me and the people I care about.
In the same February interview, did you tell Detective Curry, I went down here and I talked to her. Now everybody, excuse me, let me start back. Did you tell Detective Curry during this interview, how could I survive this? How could I survive this? I can't go anywhere if I don't have money. Because Gaither called my phone when I was in front of Young Thug. She wanted me to talk. She wanted me to come down and talk. You feel me? Everybody there, everybody right there. You feel me? That's what I did. I left, went down here and talked to her. Now, everybody look at me like I'm a snitch now. It's just like I can't get no money. You know, I was just getting money by just doing nothing. Hey man, I need to borrow this right here, just hanging around going for the mall. He paid for everything for me. And now they think I'm a snitch.
First of all, I was breaking in the stove, so I'm always get me some money. That's what I'm gonna do. So what I told the investigators was just anything. I keep telling you that. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. So my
What a
question
character.
to you is,
This guy is a mess. Breaking into
were you concerned back then about being labeled a snitch?
I was playing the victim card. I keep telling you that. It was about being labeled a snitch, because if I was concerned about being labeled a snitch, I would never even try to finesse my way out of no situation, because even lying to the police, y'all to put it in there as in this and then the third. I know anything that I say to a police officer, they're going to go into a police report anyway. So it's self-explanatory. I only cared about getting myself out of situations to protect my family. That's it.
And is that why you're changing your testimony here today?
I'm not changing my... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because you're concerned about being labeled a snitch?
Miss Hilton, the damn word called me a snitch. You think I'm only concerned about telling the truth today? I don't know what nobody else did, but I do know that I have lied on people, and I don't want that on my conscience. So today I'm
Now his
sitting here
conscience
telling you
bothers
the
him.
truth. I
Now it's
told you the
conscience,
truth
right.
before y'all called me in this trial. I told y'all I have made it up. I told y'all that. I wasn't gonna say anything about nothing to hurt my friend. My friend was strict. I was only protecting him.
So when you told the detective
He needs
about
to
what
just say it.
happened the night of Donovan Thomas's murder, were you protecting Threat?
Yes, I was gonna keep Threat name out of it as much as possible.
Did Threat have something to do with Donovan Thomas's murder?
I don't know what Threat got something to do with it, but I
Oh.
know that they was the last person I gave that car to.
What car?
The car, the Infinity car. And I wasn't gonna say nothing about it.
What Infinity car did you give to Threat?
The Infinity car that I had.
Okay. Is this the same car that you went to the rental car place with Thug and Thug rented the Infinity?
I'm talking about the gray Infinity car that me and Zachary was riding in. I wrecked the car,
Oh no.
put up on Threat, gave the car to Threat, and I left.
Okay. Is this the same Infinity that you told police that you went to the Hertz rental car place with Thug when he rented the Infinity?
I just told you that I gave Threat
He is
that car.
frustrated.
I
Ms.
don't know.
Copeland, that's not what she asked, so listen to what she asked and then answer that as best you can.
You're saying you gave Threat that Infinity. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on 1 second. Y'all just confused me. What you say, Yana?
Well, I wanted Ms. Hilton to ask the question clearly and you listen to it and answer it. So ask the question you asked him a minute ago, if that's what you want the answer to.
The Infinity that you're talking about, is that the Infinity that you went to the Atlanta airport with Thug when he rented the Infinity?
What you asking?
You're talking about an Infinity that you gave to Threat, correct?
Right.
The Infinity that you're referring to, is that the Infinity that you went to the Atlanta airport with Thug when he rented the Infinity?
Yes.
Okay. And that was the car that Thug rented, correct?
I asked him to rent me a car, and I rented the car, and I gave the car to Threat.
When did you give the car to Threat?
The same night I rented it. The night before that happened.
Before what happened?
The same night it happened. I can't remember. I gave the car to Threat, and I left.
Where did you give the car to Threat at?
I don't recall.
At the studio.
What studio?
I pulled up and gave it to him and pulled right off.
What studio?
Don't say DJ Drama.
It was by Northside Drive, Marietta. It was one of them streets.
Was there anyone else at the studio when you gave the car to
I
Threat?
didn't go in the studio. I pulled up. I was pulling up, and I seen Threat. I gave Threat the car, jumped out of the car, it got in my charge. Called my brother to come and get me. And
This story's
And
getting weird. This
Was
story's
this
getting
the
weird.
date Donovan Thomas died? Was this a few days before? In relation to when Donovan Thomas died, when did you get Threat this vehicle?
I gave Threat that car. He I read the car, gave it to Threat.
When though?
So when you wrecked the car, why would you give Threat a wrecked vehicle?
So I could. What you mean? It wasn't damaged bad. I don't know. I hit something on it, and then shit. The thing on the cover, it was tripping. So when I pulled up, I wasn't giving it to Threat, but I just seen him standing outside. And I was like, he like, what you about to do? I'm like, just get these key real quick. I'll be right back. Gave Threat the car, and I dipped. I don't know if it was late, so When I woke up the next day, I came outside, and this when I heard what happened.
Okay.
Oh man, he's basically saying it.
All right, Ms. Hilton, is this a good time to
Yes,
stop
it's a
for
good
the
time to
day?
stop.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Copeland, we'll see you back here at 9 in the morning.
9,
9 in the morning.
I can go.
Yeah, you can go for now. All right, ladies and gentlemen. To maintain the integrity of this trial, remember that you need to decide this case based only on the evidence that is admitted during this trial and the law that I will explain to you. You should consider only the evidence admitted inside of this courtroom. You may not conduct any research on your own about this case or about any of the people or the places mentioned in this trial. You may not visit any places mentioned in the evidence, and you may not refer to any books or documents that have not been admitted during the trial. You should not take or review any photographs or video of any person or place involved in this case, except to review the evidence during your deliberations later. Also, you may not use any dictionaries or any other reference materials, including online reference materials, to help you in any way with this case. You may not use Google or any other internet search engine or consult websites, blogs, podcasts, any social media websites, apps, including but not limited to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, Reels, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, Reddit, or the like. I'm sure I
YouTube?
left out a few.
Wow,
But
get out of here if you're a
or
juror.
any other source, electronic or otherwise.
We'll
to
stick
get
with this just
information
another
about
minute,
this
see if
case.
there's anything
And do not
happening once
use
the
any of
jury
these
leaves.
sources to get
But we're about to get
information
into our
about legal
Q&A.
terms or concepts or about the
Apparently
law.
Jason's written down a
Finally,
bunch of
do not
questions for me.
watch, read,
I thought I
or
had some,
listen
but
to
now-
any accounts of this trial that might
Oh, you can
appear in
think
the
of-
news media, whether online, in print, on television, on the radio, or otherwise. And this includes any social media as well. In short, do not seek any information about this case from any source outside of the confines of this courtroom. Remember, you are the ones who've been qualified as fair and impartial jurors to decide this case, and no other influence should affect your decision. For that reason, you may not discuss this case with anyone, including your family and friends, or let anyone discuss this case with you or around you. This includes discussion or sharing information in person or by phone, email, text, blog, or any form of social media. And if anyone does approach you about the case, please immediately let Sergeant Ingram or another deputy or court staff know that. Please remember that you should consider the evidence with an open mind. Do not jump to conclusions and do not reach any final conclusions until this trial is complete. And by that, I mean until the deliberations begin, after you've heard all of the evidence, the lawyer's closing arguments, and the law that applies to this case. You must not, until that time, even discuss the case amongst yourselves in the jury room, during breaks, or anywhere else. Please remember to leave your notes and notepads in the jury room as you leave for the evening. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and we will see you at 9 a.m. in the morning. Thank you. You're excused for now.
Woo. Look, I'm gonna rise for the jury, man. I'm tired for them. I'm tired for them. Okay. All right, real quick, Phil. Why did they poll the jury?
This morning, you talking about the
Yeah.
beginning of the morning?
Yeah.
Well, they gotta find out, and y'all tell me if my microphone is too loud. Or
You sound good.
Look, we were changing it because we can't control the volume in the courtroom. It's it's pretty low, so you have to turn your whatever you're listening on your computer, your phone, you have to turn it way up. So when we talk, we've got good professional microphones and things like that, and we speak into them. So sorry if it
All right,
blows.
y'all may be
Okay,
seated.
they're back.
I'm going to have Ms. Pursfield double check and confirm with the jurors their understanding of what days next week they were released. I thought it was Monday through Thursday, but I just want to make sure that they don't think they're also off Friday. I got told that maybe the one juror who's taking her kid to school might be doing the whole drive back on Thursday, so I'm just going to double check on that. But I am planning for us to work pretty much the whole week next week, just as a non-jury week. If it turns out that they are ready to come back on Friday or think that that's when they were being called back anyway, then that'll be a jury day for us. But otherwise, at least it'll be Monday through Thursday non-jury, and we'll just see about Friday based on what they think. I'll just go with whatever they have already been told by the predecessor judge. All right, so I know there's some things we need to deal with next week. I know, Misty Williams, you have sent a more particularized motion to suppress, so I appreciate that. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but we'll take
Shoot
that
it
up.
out anyway.
There's a motion to exclude late identified, I guess, co-conspirator statements that we'll take up then. If we're lucky, we can get to what everybody understands the exhibit list admissions are. I don't think that's the most critical thing to do, but if we get around to it,
Wow.
we need to have confirmation on the motion in limine 49 concerning the PowerPoint. Do y'all have an answer to that yet?
Your Honor, I don't. My answer is preliminary. I just remember what I said, and it was not contained in, partially contained in the motion in limine. So we are looking back at the transcript and the video, because my recollection of it is different than what's being represented in motion in limine number 49. And mine was specifically that we were not intending to introduce it at that time through that witness. So, and that day. So we're going back.
All right.
Because
So you think that it's possible that you didn't actually say, we don't ever want to introduce it or use it? You think it may have just been,
I know I didn't say that we don't ever want to.
all right. And so then it sounds like there's still going to need to be a ruling on that, because y'all do want to introduce that?
We do want to use that. We intended, that's why we gave it to them. We were going to use it through Detective Dennis at the end of the Donovan Thomas and at the end of the retaliatory shooting.
All right, and I know that I've got the defense position on that. I don't know if you had said that you filed a written response ever.
I did, but to his number 49, I will file a written response.
Okay,
because when we got that, we were looking through, like, that's not the recollection that I have. We were looking through to make sure that he had contained. And it doesn't. His motion does not contain the entirety of what was said in that colloquy. And the matter of the PowerPoint was addressed on 2 different days, I believe.
Okay, well, just get that in sometime this week. So that's another thing we can deal with and resolve next week. I know we still have wiretap evidence outstanding that we need to reach at some point. I think that's everything, other than we need to have a date for the remedial training. And Ms. Love, if you can provide to the court the identity of all of the team members, at least the lawyer team members, and if you want to have investigators or anybody else participate in the remedial training, that's up to you, but at least all of the lawyers that are on this team. And
That's hilarious.
am thinking, I know I have got a conflict Monday morning, Monday the 19th, between 8 and 12. I'll be here for the afternoon. And I'm thinking if that would be an ideal time to do
Jason,
that.
sound like they're doing housekeeping. You want to go ahead and let's mute this and we can do our thing?
Yeah, we're gonna mute this just in case. I doubt there's gonna be any bombshells, if that's okay.
All right.
I'm gonna mute that. All right, Phil. Whew.
Man, what a day. And by the way, thanks to everybody who's watching Inside the Law and Dear Woke Christian, both channels co-streaming together. Thank you all very much for being here. I know you've been with Jason most of the day, but
oh my gosh,
he and I were talking offline and we said, we've just got to do some kind of a breakdown. And while I was doing my day job, he was doing this job so everybody could be caught up.
All right, so Phil,
you asked me
yes,
about polling.
Phil, there was no genuine, honest to goodness polling of the jury. Like, what in the world is that about?
Well, I would have brought him in. What I would have done, I mean, I would have gone one by one by one, and just.
That's what I was expecting.
There's a lot to talk about with them. I mean, like, and I missed this part, and you can tell us. Did they explain to the jury why there's a new judge, or was that just forgotten about? I missed.
She read it, but that was actually it. That was actually it. There was nothing about what have you all been doing? Have you all been racing Woody on ATVs down Peachtree Street? nothing.
Or
And I'm
watching
like,
YouTube people
right,
talking
like
about this case. Yeah.
she
Well, those
didn't
are all
even
things
hint
that
to it.
were important. I think it should have been gotten into, but I like the big one was, she's ruled that the time where Woody testified for several days, it was at that time period, Jason, between when Judge Glanville should have sent his motion to recuse to a separate judge, and when
Correct.
he actually did, there was some testimony heard by this jury, and so they were asked. They were told they were supposed to disregard all that, and then they're told, "Can you in fact do that?" I mean,
and they just took a head nod. It was literally, she asked them that, and then she asked them. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No,
she said, "Here's your notes." So they asked, "Hey, can you forget what Woody said?" They said yes, and they said, "Okay, here's the notes that you wrote about what Woody said. Can you please throw those away?" Like it was. Can you please? Because they let them everything Woody said up to the recusal. I'm sorry, everything he said past the recusal. They said they wanted them to throw that out, so they had to go through their notes to see what he said up to that point. It was the most wildest thing.
I think that was insufficient, in my opinion. I think that you should have brought them in one at a time, not in the presence of the other jurors. Because look, I mean, if you're sitting there on that jury, and it's not just 12 people, you got all the alternates, so it's a pretty large group of people, and they're all sitting there nodding their head. You don't want to be the odd man out or odd woman, whatever. It's like
I'd have been like me.
You're going to do what the crowd does.
I'm sorry. I'd have been the odd. I would have been like, yes, I'm popping the balloon. I'm out of here. I'm out.
People can't. Well, I don't know that they knew that would get them off the jury. Maybe they figured it out later, but people are not, they don't want to admit easily, that they can't follow a judge's instructions. But what I like to look, you can't take the skunk out of the jury box, right? That's the saying. Or you could look at it like this: you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't unring a bell. Whatever you want to use, it's the same. This jury, as a practical matter, they can nod their head and say, "Yes, Judge, we'll do whatever you tell us." But the fact of the matter is that they really can't. And if they were, I think, being truly honest, I mean, I don't know how you forget something that you know. You know what I mean?
And not something that was that odd for somebody to say, "I plead the fifth on how old I am." Yeah, I could forget, something ancillary piece of information, but that was pretty big because in the response of the judge and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I would remember that. I'm sorry.
There's a lot that needs to happen if you're going to reset this. The judge is trying to reset this trial, put it back on the tracks or whatever, and setting aside the correctness of all of her rulings and this and that and the other. I think that I don't think you can put this back on the tracks unless you can determine that the jury has, in fact, not watched the news, not watched our live streams, not watched or looked at the newspaper or any social media about this. So you need to talk to them one at a time. You need to be thorough, and you need to make sure that they aren't sitting there today, ignoring everything that's going on, because in the back of their head, they're wondering, hey, what happened to that other judge?
Right. Because
that man that liked to yell and scream at everybody, what happened
with
to
the
him?
dog?
If that's distracting them to the point they can't pay attention to what's going on, that could be an issue as well.
I'm sorry. I don't know how they were able to pull that off. Let me get this. All right. So that was my first question, Phil. I know you, I don't, do you still have to go, or are you okay?
I got it. No, I'm good. I got a hard out in about 25 minutes, but we can keep going. I want to make sure that because like I may have I didn't get to watch all day like you guys did. I've been doing my best to try to keep up with it, but I know you guys watched all day, and a lot of folks are sending me questions, and I know y'all have them. So I want to make sure we do our best to at least try to answer them.
Yeah. So, and please forgive if we don't answer your question. I see some questions in the chat. I got questions that I kind of put together from earlier. Is there any kind of witness prep for Woody? Is that cheating? Is that what kind of, he came in, it looked like he was following the script, and he just gets a little frustrated. But by the end, I think he completely threw out the script.
No, I agree. And I think that he's got a lawyer, so they can't speak to him without his lawyer participating. Okay. So that's a problem. there's nothing improper about preparing a witness, but once they start testifying, you're really supposed to get away from like talking to them like as they're currently on the stands. I doubt they're having any contact with him, but
No
he does have a
baseball,
lawyer.
no baseball situations.
Yeah. I mean, you can't tell the witness what to say. You can prep them, but at the end of the day, when I do witness prep, for example, we
How do you
talk
do it?
about it, and I want to make sure I understand what they're going to say. But I always point out to them, look, the main thing I want you to understand is you got to tell the truth, right? So I don't want anybody to ever question it. Isn't it true that Mr. Holloway told you to say that? No, Mr. Holloway told me to tell the truth. That's what he told me. That's the only thing I can tell them what to say. I can ask them what they're planning to say, and we can talk about it and talk about the facts as they know them. And I can maybe tell them what kind of questions I might ask them. But no, we don't. We're not supposed to tell a witness what to say either before they testify or during a trial. It's illegal, actually.
I got you. Okay. The I don't recall strategy. It clearly looks like that's what his strategy was, whether he was coached to do that or whether he said he's just going to do it himself. Is there anything that could go wrong with the incessive? Because I think he really should have just been saying, I don't recall, literally the whole day. Is there anything that can go wrong with that?
Well, normally if a witness says they don't remember something and you've got a document or something where they may have said, what they do remember, you can literally refresh their recollection with a used napkin if that's what it takes to refresh their memory. But normally it's like, okay, you got a prior statement and you don't remember. So you approach them and you say, do you remember making this statement on such and such day? Without reading out loud, read to yourself what you said right here on lines 4 through 6, and then I will re-ask the question. And then they read it and you say, does that refresh your recollection? Then you ask the question again. But here, when he says, I don't recall to like every question or 3/4 of the questions or whatever, as a practical matter, it's really, really impractical for them to approach him every single time and identify some prior inconsistent statement. So to answer your question, if his intent is to kind of throw their train off the tracks, I think it's working.
All right. He alluded, and a lot of people were bringing this up. He alluded to the infamous ex parte meeting. If he had just said, if he had like really just blew the lid off of it and said, when you brought me back there with Glanville and the defense wasn't there and you told me that you were going to throw me in jail indefinitely, and I said I wanted to plead the fifth, but I didn't want to be a part of it. Just put it all out there in open court. What could have happened?
Well, let me answer it this way. I think it's going to.
It's going to happen.
Well, because here's they've got the transcript of the ex parte, right? Where Woody's back there in the chambers. So what's going to happen is on cross-examination, he's going to say something differently on cross-examination than he said in the courtroom. And so the defense lawyers are going to pull out their transcript and they're going to say, Mr. Copeland, let me
refresh your memory.
Haven't you said something different on a prior occasion? Well, I don't recall. And then they go, well, let me show you this transcript of the meeting. And then they're going to use it that way. They're going to, in order to impeach a witness with a prior inconsistent statement, you have to, first off, you got to identify them, and you have to identify that statement and orient the witness to where you're talking about. Isn't it true that you met in Judge Glanville's office on such and such date in front of all these people, wherein you said, and then you literally pull up the transcript in front of the jury and you read it. Isn't it true that you said X, Y, Z, and so on and so forth? And the jury, so that accomplishes a couple of things. It's a style thing, but by doing it that way, you comply with the rules of evidence by orienting the witness to the exact date and substance of the prior inconsistent statement. And by holding up the transcript, making a big production out of it, the jury sees that and they can see that there's a transcript, right? And that you're not making this up. They know that you've got a document that has his words on it. So that can be a very powerful way to cross-examine a witness. Now, you're not going to hear the lawyers say, isn't it true that you met with Judge Glanville in an illegal ex parte? You're not going to hear them use that phrase. The judge would shut them down because she's already ruled that it was not illegal, a ruling which I disagree with. But they can still
bring it up.
Let the jury know that it was a meeting in his office with the prosecutors and without the defense attorneys, and they got a transcript. So I think all that's going to probably come out.
Oh, it's going. So I expect the defense to do that. Personally, I think, in my opinion, I think Hilton was actually slow dragging because she knows that's what's going to happen. If she had rested her case today, she knew good and well Steele was chomping at the bit to jump up there and immediately start asking those questions. But so what if Woody said anything that kind of led to it? Would it cause any problems? And I don't expect him to use the Latin legal jargon, but if he says, like, y'all brought me back there in the judge's office and you told me that you're going to keep me in jail indefinitely. And and you told me about my little girl's birthday and I was going to miss her birthday. Could he do that? I mean, if Woody did it, would that cause any problems?
Well, I think I mean,
it's going to happen.
They're going to ask, if Woody feels threatened and compelled, I think it's fair question on cross to ask him, isn't it true that you were threatened by Judge Glanville with staying in jail indefinitely if you didn't testify the way they wanted? So it's going to come out. I don't know if Woody had blurted it out today. Who knows what the judge would have done? She seemed to be letting Woody give all kinds of answers that were non-responsive. She let him ramble. Let me say this: the assistant DA let him ramble, and if she had objected to some of his non-responsiveness, the judge would have reined him in a little bit because his answers were, in many instances, non-responsive and rambling, and they answered questions that weren't even asked. Right. So he was given a lot of latitude by the prosecutor and the judge. So if he blurts out you heard him use a lot of F-bombs that would get a lot of witnesses thrown in jail in a lot of cases, but he's been given some latitude. So if he had busted out with a whole thing about the ex parte meeting, I doubt he would have been in any trouble, but it would have given the jury something else to have to be instructed about by this judge.
Okay. All right. And then the very last thing, and then if you've seen the other questions, because I've seen some pop up, but it sounds like to me, he's starting to go down the path that his deceased friend is the one that did this crime, that it was something between Donovan Thomas and Threat.
You're speaking of the murder charge.
Right, the murder. It sounds like he's going there. It sounds like he's doing everything not to, but he's getting real close to just saying Threat did this. And that's what happened. It had nothing to do with, he's already said it had nothing to do with Young Thug or anybody else here. That's kind of wild. What would happen if he does that? If he gets on the stand tomorrow and be like, yo, Threat killed Nut, and just says it.
Yeah. So the prosecutor would then seek to impeach their own witness. And I'm not talking about impeachment that, you do with presidents and politicians. Impeachment of a witness refers to, for those of you who may not be familiar, impeachment in this context means that you can establish through your questions and other means that a witness should not be believed, at least as to whatever issue they're talking about. But it's the rule used to be you can't impeach your own witness because it doesn't make sense, right? If you're going to call a witness, you expect that you're kind of stuck with their testimony. But now the rule is that you can impeach your own witness. So what they would do is they would say, isn't it true that you've made a different statement about this? You've said something else on a different date and go through it that way. Because it's called a prior inconsistent statement. And a prior inconsistent statement is considered substantive evidence just as much as a photograph or DNA evidence. It's a prior inconsistent statement can be used by the jury as substantive evidence. So the idea is that you want the jury to believe the prior statement that's helpful to your position and not what they say in court under oath.
Wow.
That's a long answer to a short question.
You're a lawyer, so I expect, if it was a short answer, I'd say you're impersonating a lawyer. So I appreciate it. All right, Phil, there were some other questions out there. You saw Dave123 just asked if Threat, who's also known Tay, is he still around? No, he was recently unalived here in Atlanta over there near Peyton Forest Elementary School and Peyton Forest Road. The reason I know that is because my first teaching assignment was at Peyton Forest Elementary School.
What happened to him?
He was lots of holes were put into him.
Oh,
at the same
ventilation.
time, right?
Death by ventilation. Okay.
Yeah, he was ventilated. Oh man. Here's another question. During redirect, could the defense say, Woody, have you had any conversations with a member of the state's team without the lawyer being present at any time? And you kind of said that
I
already.
mean, yeah, I mean, they
Yeah,
can ask
absolutely.
the question, and it you can ask whatever. The way I look at it's like this: every question is proper, and every answer is admissible unless there's an objection and the judge rules otherwise. So, I mean, sure, by all means, you can absolutely give it a try. Isn't it true that Judge Glanville threatened you with jail until the cows come home if you didn't testify to how the state wanted you? You can ask that question. They can object to it. It can be sustained, but the jury's already heard it.
Now, if I don't say anything, if I am the state and you get up there and say that, and I don't say anything, let's say I'm not paying attention, I'm over playing Candy Crush or whatever, and you ask that question,
Yep.
It's on me to object to it.
That's right. I mean,
Is that fair?
theoretically,
Okay.
the judge can
I guess the
object
judge
on
can,
her
yeah.
own. But most trial judges will look, their job is to call balls and strikes. And if you don't take a swing or you don't throw a pitch, it's on you, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Now, here's another question, and I think this was definitely something worth asking. Question: could the court or the defense team track jurors' electronics to see if they've been following the case with their phones or computers? I think that's a lot
I
too
don't
far.
know that prosecutors can do that without a warrant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see. I think that would be going too far. But I mean, what someone does in public, I mean, you at my office and where you are is pretty close. So, I mean, I could stalk you, right? And I can watch you, and I can.
I've come by your office. I've stalked you.
I can take pictures of you. And so if they want to follow them around, I guess they could do that. But or if they have information on social media that's public, they could look and see if they've gone on X or if they've gone on Facebook or whatever.
If they're in the best live chat on the planet,
they can absolutely do that. Yeah,
absolutely.
They can. If it's something they do in public and it's found out, then, and I've seen that happen. I've seen
Really?
prosecutors. They're the ones that usually have most of the resources and stuff to do this, but I've absolutely seen prosecutors check behind people on social media answers, and that goes like during jury selection. They'll answer a question in some way, and the prosecutor will go back and sometimes check their social media history to see if that might be true.
I got you. All right. Somebody asked, am I wrong to think that Hilton could have been more effective, more organized, and more impactful? It was very difficult to follow. And I think that thank you, anthropologist, because that's a great question. I had no idea where she was going. I was totally lost. See, there we go. Thank you. We watch YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a picture outside your office tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, so look, ask your question again.
Is it wrong to say that Hilton was not effective?
Okay.
She could be more impactful and better organized.
Well, look, I mean, that's in the eye of the beholder. And so if our audience here believes that she was not effective, then it stands to reason that perhaps maybe the jury thought the same thing. Look, it's a matter of style, how a lawyer conducts themselves on direct or cross-examination. And this is effectively cross-examination because now, since he's been declared a hostile witness, the rules allow them to use cross-examination style leading questions. So there's effectively no difference, right? So
okay.
The way I do it, I don't like to stand behind a podium. I like to walk around the courtroom. I like to see you do that. I like to change my tone of voice a little bit. I like to, it just kind of move. I'll stand in front of the jury and I'll look at the jury right in their eyes while I'm asking a question to this witness up here on the stand. Isn't it true that you did this, that, and the other thing on such and such date? And I'm staring at the jury.
Right.
And what I'm doing is I'm the one talking to the jury, and I want them to focus on my question, not what this person that I think might be lying to them on the stand is saying. So it's just a matter of style. I think there's a way to do it that might be maybe more effective or less sedating, perhaps, of the jury. But look, it's just a matter of style.
All right, so I'm going to jump back because somebody asked a great question. Greg McHenry said, "Can the jury then ask to see the transcript?" So let's say that I'm the defense and say, "Phil, isn't it true that you said this on this date?" And I bring up the transcript. Does the jury get to see that transcript?
No,
They
you're
don't.
stuck.
Okay.
Look, no, they don't. They're not going to get to see the transcript. So if Woody is going to be cross-examined about something that he says, okay, let's just say tomorrow Woody says the sky is blue, and in that transcript he says the sky is red. And so on cross-examination, you can orient him to the discussion and pull out your transcript. You can put on your glasses and make sure you flip to the right page and use your finger to, isn't it true that you said, and I quote, and then you just kind of, the point is made. And if he says, no, I didn't say it, the jury's going to believe the questioner and they're not going to believe the witness. And that's kind of the point of cross-examination. You want the jury to disbelieve the other side's witness. Yeah. So if they answer differently and you're sitting there going through the transcript, you have effectively conveyed to the jury that there's a transcript and this is what it says, and he's lying about it.
Well, and since the jury probably is already in this live chat anyway, they probably already are on Thugger Daily. So they've already subscribed to Thugger Daily's Google Drive, and they probably have already read the transcript. It is what it is. Okay.
Here's a question on the super chat from Will Crump. How much judicial and prosecutorial conduct does it take to get a case tossed with prejudice? Will, man, if I knew the answer to that, I thought I knew it before this case started, because if this isn't it, I don't know what is.
Amen.
I honestly don't. And I'm not trying to be flip in my answer, Will, but I don't know. I mean, because I thought, and if you've watched me or Jason or any of us it's almost unanimous, particularly amongst my attorney colleagues, we're all stunned that this ex parte, these series of ex parte discussions and everything else hasn't gotten this case dismissed with prejudice. So I wish I had a better answer, buddy, but thanks for the super chat.
No, I'm with you because I'm just glad I don't bet. Because I'm telling you, 2 weeks ago, I would have bet a lot of money on this, and I would be eating out of a soup can today because I would have lost it all. There's no way I would have thought we would be here having this conversation.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
There's no way.
We spent 2 weeks, and I said this in my live stream yesterday. I feel like this judge's bark seems worse than her bite. I think we might all be able to agree on that. She says things like, today she reminded the prosecutors they've got to go back to remedial Brady school and on Brady material, which is exculpatory evidence that the prosecutors are constitutionally obligated to hand over. And they didn't, or discovery violations, even if it's not Brady, there are certain things under Georgia's discovery statute that must be handed over. So if she's ordering them to remedial training and she's saying and doing things in court that give us some expectation that she's about to do a mistrial, and then she figures out some way to say, well, the ex parte should not have happened, but it was not a critical stage of the case. Well, come on.
I've never heard that before. That's crazy.
She finds ways to give them a pass, and I got a problem with that.
I agree. But you know what? I don't have a problem with Invisible Woman's question because I think it's really good. She says, why was he more believable today? I think he won you over, Invisible Woman, with that suit. That suit and the little pocket square, it dazzled you. That pocket square did it. I'm sorry. That's what happened. I think
he looked nice. I thought he looked
great.
Before.
I thought he looked fantastic. I hope he does it again tomorrow. Not the same suit. I hope he come in with another suit. I thought he came in there well. I thought he looked great.
Well, hey, let me show this quick video and we'll talk about it.
Sure.
I'm asking you now, when they're like, all right, we're calling Kenneth Copeland, are you going to say, okay, ask me what you want to ask me. I'll tell you whatever I'm going to tell you. Or are you going to say, nope, I don't care if you throw me in jail. I'm not saying a word. I am not getting on the stand.
It depends on how I wake up.
Okay. All right. Well, then we will just revisit it on Monday morning. So
apparently he woke up in a three-piece suit and a pocket square and a tie. But he looked a lot
he
better.
went to bed ready to wake up to come because he looked good. No question, no doubt, no problem there. I think, but let me just also say, I think he was prepared a little bit better. He was well rested, maybe. I don't think he meant to be there that long though either. I don't think he intended that he was going to be there for almost 6.5 hours in that booth.
Well, he's not done. I mean,
he's
he's
not
got
done.
more direct. I mean, I don't know how many more days of Woody direct there is, and then you get cross-examination by every single lawyer.
Hopefully, they'll come up with a strategy to keep him.
No.
Okay, let me tell you what I would do. I would say, hey, we don't need him. He's helping us. We don't need him to get to, almost 5 o'clock, almost 5:30, and be salty and start saying crazy stuff. So let's get these questions really streamlined. Because I'm sorry, the defense is winning. They are definitely winning.
I guess well maybe, and each defendant has different interests here, so they're not exactly in lockstep. So they won't coordinate entirely, and they're going to ask whatever questions they need to ask and clear up whatever they need to clear up. But Woody ultimately is really causing the state's case to go off the track. So, they're sitting back right now. You don't see a lot of objections. They're just sitting back and letting them do their own damage to the case. But
correct.
On cross-examination, the general rule is you don't ask any questions you don't know the answer to. And by the way, I think maybe Ms. Hilton should have remembered that today when she was asking her cross-examination style questions. But they shouldn't ask a question they don't know the answer to. They should have a series of ideas and points that they want to get Woody to make through their questions. Get in, you get him to make those points, and then you get out without delaying things or belaboring it too much. Let the prosecution be the one to bore the jury, but you still got to get what points you think are necessary. You've got to cover those. So each one's going to be different, but there's a lot of them. So even if they're short, and then there's redirect. Okay. Yeah. There's redirect examination and then recross maybe.
I'm sorry. He's going to have a rough time. Okay. Real quick. Somebody asked where Melnick is. Melnick is probably there, but he doesn't need to. He's just there to represent. Am I right? Just be there for his witness. And if Woody needed to, he could say, "Can I talk to my lawyer first?" He could stop everything and go talk to Melnick.
And he may have it. He may be available by phone and things like that. I don't know.
He was there this morning.
You can't see, unfortunately,
right.
Who's there, but maybe we'll figure out from people who are in court whether Jonathan Melnick is present or was. But we know that he has a right to communicate with his lawyer if he seeks to do that, and I'm sure the judge will let him.
Absolutely. Okay, and I'm gonna have to get a theme song for Woody. If he rolls up in here in a suit tomorrow, I already got a theme song ready. I'm probably gonna get demonetized on my channel, but I'm just gonna play it. You know what it is too. I know you know what it is because you're in my cohort, so you know what it is.
Well, maybe
it's in the spirit of this of the question that Invisible Woman asked.
Clean, yeah.
He's going to get a theme. He needs a theme song tomorrow for sure. Could Woody cause a mistrial while being asked questions by the defense?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But if the defense causes it, though, it's not with prejudice.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, that would not be with prejudice. But if I think so home office asked that question. So let me also add, could he also cause a mistrial with the prosecution?
Oh, yeah. If the prosecution is responsible for what happens, then absolutely. I mean, so let me back up. Yes and no. So normally you see Brian Steele doing this a bunch. If something happens and the defense makes an objection and it's sustained, and then the prosecutors ask some improper question and you really want to make a big deal about it, you also ask for a mistrial. It's not, and it's going to be, and that it's about to be denied, right? Immediately denied. But the reason that you ask for a mistrial is you want to preserve, if you think it's something that's reversible error, that your objection was denied or overruled. Okay. If you think it's reversible error, and if you don't ask right then and there for a mistrial, you have waived the issue and you cannot later complain about it on appeal. So a lot of these oral mistrial requests are simply for the purpose of preserving the record for appeal. So you don't waive any grounds potentially for appeal, because if you waive something that's would otherwise be reversible error, then you, as the trial defense lawyer, can be deemed for what's called ineffective assistance of counsel.
Wow.
No, to be deemed ineffective. So
I don't want to be ineffective. So
that's
somebody, again, I think it's Invisible Woman asked, why did they tell him he was covered state and federal immunity? I don't think they said federal.
Well, I think what I heard him say was that, does this cover all courtrooms? And somebody said yes. And I think it was maybe the judge said yes. If I didn't hear that right, somebody will correct me. But if that's what happened, he says, does this cover me? Does my immunity cover all courtrooms or something like that? And if he was told yes, I mean, federal courtrooms are courtrooms, and so his question would include federal and state.
Okay, I was listening for the word federal. Maybe I missed that. So you might be right.
What I heard was all, but I'm sure if I've got it wrong, somebody will correct me. But yeah, that's the issue that I saw.
I like it. Okay. Melnick was in the courtroom because Woody asked him if he could answer a question. Yeah, that's right. Earlier on, he did ask Melnick, could he ask his lawyer a question? And so yeah, he was there. At the pace they're traveling, let's just pretend all things being equal, there's no ultimate derailment. How long do you think this trial is going to go from here? Looking at today, what do you think?
I would say February 2025. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's longer than that. I don't know how many more witnesses they've got, but this judge is going to speed it up.
Dude, you killed me. Now, I will say she speeded up, but she wasted a lot of time today. She wasted a lot of time, all things being considered. Even though it was still more effective than Glanville, she still wasted a lot of time. So, and you can tell, you can hear that she's upset with it. Like, well, this is your fault, Brenda. So don't be mad at anybody else. This is your fault.
Look, I'm in all fairness, if I were a Superior Court judge in Fulton County and I had been randomly assigned this case, I would have recused myself. Then I would have said, look, I can't give these parties a fair trial on a case that's going to last this long. So I'm going to recuse myself, because I wouldn't want it. Because look, you're going to have to ignore all your other cases. Yeah. You're going to or bring in a substitute judge or something else. And, judges don't just have criminal cases. The Superior Court judges have civil cases. Yeah. They have family court, like divorce, and they even have adoptions and all kinds of things that they need to deal with, and not just one criminal case. So their entire criminal docket's going to have to be handed off or to do something. Maybe Glanville fills in for you. I don't know. But it really, really does run your train off the tracks as far as everything you got to have a case this way. And this is what I've always said. Is that this case is too big, and that's Fonnie Willis's fault. She made it too big. She created this behemoth monster of an indictment that is just too big to digest. Like, it can't be swallowed, if you will, by the court system without choking the court system. And no judge in their right mind would want to get involved in it.
Okay. No, I can't disagree. I'm a little sad when you said February. I was really hoping November.
Well, I was thinking later, but I kind of didn't want to hurt your feelings too bad.
No, at this point, man, my feelings, my emotions are wrecked. So Project Bandshirt said, do you think Woody helped the defense today?
Well, and to the extent that he confused things, yeah, I mean, because confusion at the end of the day, that's reasonable doubt, right? Yeah. So if he does nothing but confuse the issues, I don't know how you can sort out his testimony. If I were in the jury room and I heard him say, sometimes I lie, sometimes I tell the truth, sometimes I mix truth and a lie. If I hear that, that's going to make me doubt everything. And so that's all you need is reasonable doubt. Really what you need is one juror who has reasonable doubt. And at a minimum,
off to the races, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say definitely he helped the jury. Helped the defense, because all he did was he got into a very shallow pool and just flailed around. And he has muddied that water. I use the example of a school teacher. There is no parent on this chat that would be happy with me as a parent, me as a teacher. If I start out doing language arts with your kid, then we jump to spelling, We regress over to science, what we talked about last week in math. Then we do a little bit of Bible lesson. We jump all the way back to reading again. Then we go to recess. There's no way, none of you would be happy with that.
Yeah.
You would be absolutely rioting outside the principal's office, going to the superintendent's office saying, what is going on in Whitaker's classroom? This guy is crazy. Hilton's questions were everywhere. I knew where she was going and I could see what she was doing. And I could have drawn out a picture of what I think she's doing. She has 5 columns of issues and they're going triage from like 5-1, then 5-2, 5-3, and then they're going down in order. But she's literally going across the page and then goes down to the next line and then goes down to the next line. That's exactly what she's doing. But it's disjointed. It makes no sense.
I agree.
There's
and that's, making a jury upsetting and losing your jury, by the way, if you're the prosecutor, that's absolutely helps the defense. There's no question about it. So if you're the prosecutor, you've always got to be mindful of what you're saying and what you're doing and how it's playing to your audience, which is the jury. It's not the judge. It's not me and you. It's that jury.
Right.
And if your style, so to speak, is running, is all over the place and it's disjointed, like you said, yeah, it can absolutely. But I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're about to have to finish this Q&A. Are you going to be picking up another live stream, or what's your plan? Because
tonight
I've got a hard out. We're going to have to say goodbye to each other for now. I've got to go pick up children from various places. So,
not a problem. This is it. So I've been in this booth entirely too long today. President Firstborn started her job today. That's why I kept black screening it. So we were talking, getting her ready for her first day of work. So I might just go over there and harass her and go through the checkout. Go through the drive-through line and ask, can she take my order or something? But no, I'm done for the night. Tomorrow, I might be going to football.
I want to remind you and everybody who's watching that this case started out with this witness, and don't be him.
Man, can I get a water or something? I'm so high right now, y'all. I'm about to go to sleep on y'all now. I ain't gonna tell you no lie.
Yes, you may. We're gonna take a break soon. Hang in.
So this is how this case started. So why would you think it's going to be not a train wreck or a dumpster fire right now? But it is what it is.
We went over the opening statements this past weekend. I'm sorry. That opening statement was the biggest, hugest red flag that there was going to be a problem. That opening statement was wild. An hour and 30 minutes, I think Adrian Love's was.
Yeah. Well,
so
we'll see. Well, look, man, thank you,
man.
letting me come in with you, and thanks for doing this together. That's a lot of fun, and we'll do it again soon. But you've done a good service to helping people stay up to speed on it, myself included. So thank you for that. Big round of applause for Jason as we'll say goodbye here on my channel, and he can end his own himself. But thanks so much, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much, Phil. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
All right. Good night. And thanks for those of you who are watching here on Inside the Law as well. I appreciate it very much. And until next time, we'll see you right back here inside the law.